Welcome to Storytime with a Crusty Paratrooper, where we tell strange, mysterious, or just good old entertaining stories. I, of course, am your host, the Crusty Paratrooper, but you can call me Greg. So, yeah, let's get into today's story. Today's story is it's the origin story of the term Foo Fighters, which, well, I guess it's not actually the origin story, but it's what made it popular outside of a comic book. But today you might know it as a rock band from the 1990s or whatever else you might know. Today we're going to talk about the story that made it popular. So imagine this. It's November of 1944. You're a young American pilot. You're strapped into a Bristol Beaufighter. You're slicing through the pitch black skies over Nazi-occupied Europe. Flak bursts light up the night like deadly fireworks, and your heart pounds. As you hunt German bombers, suddenly, off your wingtip, 8 to 10 blazing orange lights, hurling at impossible speeds, faster than your plane, weaving like fireflies on steroids. They don't just fire, they just watch, taunt, and then vanish. What the hell are they? Welcome to the Foo Fighters, the greatest unsolved riddle of World War II skies. Let's define the mystery. The term Foo Fighters, coined by Allied pilots, describe these unexplained aerial phenomena, glowing orbs, balls of fire, or lights, that shadowed aircraft without hostility. They were first reported in 1942 by the RAF. They peaked in late 1944 over Europe and the Pacific with hundreds of sightings, by credible witnesses, no radar pings, no damage, just eerie companionship. Today we'll unpack their history, eyewitness terror, official freakouts, and wild theories, and why they still haunt us today. By the end, you'll wonder, were they harbingers of the UFO age? Or were they something far stranger? To understand the Foo Fighters, we need to drop into the chaos of World War II night ops. World War II night skies were a deadly ballet. Allied night fighters like the U.S. 415th Squadron, based near Dijon, France, prowled for the Luftwaffe bombers. Under blackout conditions, pilots flew by instruments, radar, and gut instinct. And during bone-chilling cold, oxygen deprivation, and the constant dread of ambush. Enter the RAF in 1942. As early as March, bomber crews over the Balkans spotted amber lights tailing their planes, like ghostly escorts. By October of 1944, Americans in the 422nd Squadron mistook them for Nazi rocket planes, the Messerschmitt Me-163. Zipping over Belgium, these weren't one-offs, they were an epidemic. How it got its silly name? Well, the label stuck on November 23rd of 1944. During a routine patrol over the Rhine Valley, pilot Lieutenant Ed Schluter, radar op Donald Myers, and intel officer Fred Ringwald spot those infamous 8 to 10 bright orange lights flying in formation off their left wing. When Myers blurts, "Where did they come from?" and "What were they?" the debrief erupts in laughter. Sounds like those fucking Foo Fighters from the comics. It was a nod to Bill Holman's wacky Smokey Stover strip, where Foo meant nonsense. Sanitized by brass, it became a catch-all for sky spooks. Fiery reds, greens, whites. Like Christmas lights gone rogue. Why did it matter? In a war of Wunderwaffen and secret tech, pilots feared these were Hitler's latest toys, disrupting engines, or, worse yet, spying. But they never attacked, just played tag at 200 plus miles per hour. Outturning P-61 Black Widows, sightings hit the Pacific too, massive burning spheres shadowing B-29s, possibly tied to the Japan's fire balloons. By the war's end, they'd vanished with VE Day. They'd like they'd just clocked out. Picture the stress. You're already dodging flak, now ghost lights join the party. How would you react? Let's hear some of the stories. Foo Fighters weren't uniform, but patterns definitely emerged. Glowing orbs, red or orange most common, 1 to 3 feet across, sometimes in echelons of 5 to 10, like a squadron of fireballs. They'd pace planes at exact speeds, mirror turns, then zip away, or just blink out. No sound, no exhaust, no radar echo, pure visual ghosts. Pilots called them the Kraut Fireballs in Europe, suspecting Nazis. In the Pacific, oscillating orange lights. They hung menacingly. One of the signature sightings was in the Rhine Valley on November 23rd, 1944. Our origin story. Schluter's crew cruises at 8,000 feet, quarter moon filtering through the clouds. Suddenly, bam! Those lights streak in, level with the wing, holding formation for minutes. Schluter banks hard. Poof, gone. They reappear, distant, mocking. It was real strange, Myers later said, like they were controlled. No ground radar blips, just the pilot's word. Shift to 1945 in the South Pacific, Lieutenant Dwayne Adams and crew in a B-25. They see a glowing something. Pace them for 30 minutes, bright as Venus, climbing vertically, and at the mission's end, it knew we were there, Adams recalled. The whole crew corroborated. It outpaced their evasive dives. Earlier, Kiwi pilot Brian Lumstron in a RAF night fighter over France, 2 amber orbs. They shadow him to the channel, vanishing at dawn. They flew as if guided, he wrote in 1955. And Lieutenant Samuel Krasny, near Hagenau, a red cigar-shaped glow hugs his wingtip, through loops and rolls like it was glued, before peeling off perfectly. These weren't hysterics. Scared shitless, one of the 415th pilots admitted to author Keith Chester. Historian Richard Ziebart from a sister squadron vouched. Professional guys, no speculation, just facts. That was Ted Stevens, a future U.S. Senator. Later, he later described one pacing him untouchably. Nothing on radar, it just was. Now, I want you to raise your hand if you've ever felt watched in the dark or felt that creepy feeling when you're out in the forest. Now multiply that by 10 at 300 miles per hour. The brass couldn't ignore it, and by December of 1944, the 415th logged 14 incidents. Intel Officer Ringwald funneled reports up the chain to SHAEF in Paris. On December 13th, they issued a bombshell press release. New German weapon, ? The New York Times splashed it on the front page. The next day, AP's Bob Wilson embeds with the squadron on New Year's Eve, wiring, "The Foo Fighters are real and baffling." Time magazine dubs them balls of fire, tailing Yanks for a month. Now some of the official deep dives. The SHAEF grilled Luftwaffe brass post-surrender. Zip, nada on secret tech. RAF Air Ministry in March 1945. Maybe Me-262 jets or flak rockets, but mystery with sketchy evidence. U.S. Navy's Project X-148-AV-4-3 studied pilot vertigo, blaming illusions, but crews pushed back. We know what we saw. Post-war scrutiny, CIA's 1953 Robertson panel, 6 egghead scientists pored over files. No threat, but if flying saucers was trendy back then, that's what they'd call them. Files vanished or became classified, and there were echoes in Project Blue Book. So some of the theories. So if not Nazis, what? Time for tinfoil hats. Prime suspect, Hitler's Wunderwaffen. Renato Vesco's theory, Führerball devices. Tortoise-shell drones with klystron tubes jamming engines via electrostatics. Or a V-2 rocket glows. But no, they couldn't dogfight like that. Pilots scoffed. No damage, no wins for the Reich. Psych and natural debunks? Was it combat fatigue? Insanity from stress? Shrinks said, or that's what the Shrinks said, but the 415th had ace records. Level-headed Lieutenant Krasny called BS. St. Elmo's fire? Pretty wing glow? Sure. But not 200 mile per hour formations. Ball lightning or ice crystal reflections? Possible for some, but not the maneuvers. Now let's fast forward to 2024. Experts from Caltech, Arizona and Harvard drop a bombshell. In the Journal of Modern Physics, Foo Fighters, ? Ionized gas plasmas, the fourth state of matter. Like many northern lights on steroids, attracted to plain electromagnetics like moths to a flame. They feed on radar pulses, grow and swarm, even replicate, shape-shifting into donuts or balls up to a mile wide. NASA shuttle vids from the 1980s show them dancing around the satellites. Astronauts like Buzz Aldrin saw kin during Apollo 11, not alive, but behaving intelligently via physics. Explains the no radar, high-speed tag-alongs, ties to ancient UFO lore too. Skeptics? Sure, but it fits better than ET joyrides. Or extraterrestrials, scouting the war. Panels dismissed it, but the unexplained 10% nags. Plasma or probe? Vote now. What's your take? Leave a comment. Let's discuss it. So the echoes that never faded. Sightings quit cold in May 1945. Is that a coincidence? They birthed the UFO boom. Roswell in 47. Project Blue Book's Foo Fighters episode. Even the rock band. Declassified files tease more. Historians like J. Allen Hynek linked them to black triangles. Today, UAP hearings echo the SHAEF presser. In an age of drones and AI, Foo Fighters remind us the sky's full of secrets. They humanized pilots, brave souls facing the unknown, amid total war. And challenge us. Science explains much, but mystery fuels wonder. So from the Rhine Valley fireballs to plasma swarms, Foo Fighters turned World War II pilots into unwitting explorers of the unexplained. Not weapons, not fatigue, just lights that danced. On the edge of reality, vanishing as the war did. Next time you see a streak in the night sky, remember, it might not be a shooting star. It could be a Foo Fighter. Still watching. Thank you for joining this aerial enigma. What's your wildest story? Leave it in the comments and maybe we can discuss it on a future episode. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope you have a great night.